A boy falls from the sky, wax and feathers scattering behind him into the sea. His father watches, helpless, having built the very wings that killed him. This is not a simple story about flying too close to the sun. It's a story about a prison, a warning ignored, and a father who never fully forgave himself. The setup. Daedalus was the greatest craftsman in all of Athens, an inventor whose skill bordered on magic. But his brilliance came with a dark history. After a dispute over his own nephew's talent, Daedalus fled Athens and found refuge on the island of Crete, in the court of King Minos. There his genius was put to a terrible purpose. Minos' wife had given birth to the Minotaur, a monstrous being, half man and half bull, and the king needed somewhere to contain it. Daedalus built the labyrinth, an endless maze of corridors so complex that even its own architect could barely find his way out. For years the labyrinth served Minos well, but eventually Daedalus's knowledge became a liability. Having helped an enemy of the king solve the labyrinth's secrets, Daedalus and his young son Icarus were imprisoned in a tower, with the sea as their only view of freedom. Rising tension. Minos controlled every ship and every road leading off the island. There was no escaping by land or by sea, but Daedalus began to look upward. If the king ruled the earth and the water, the sky remained untouched. Working in secret, Daedalus collected feathers from gulls, from doves, from any bird he could find, arranging them by size and binding them together with wax and thread. Slowly, two great sets of wings took shape, one for himself and one small enough for his son. When the wings were finished, Daedalus fitted them to Icarus's shoulders and gave him a warning that would echo through the story for thousands of years. Fly too low and the sea's dampness would weigh the feathers down. Fly too high and the sun's heat would melt the wax holding them together. The only path to safety was the middle course, steady, disciplined, neither too cautious nor too bold. The flight and fall. Father and son leapt from the tower window together, and for a moment it worked. They rose over the shoreline, over fishermen who looked up in disbelief, mistaking them for gods. Icarus, weightless and free for the first time in years, felt something he hadn't felt in his father's careful workshop, joy without limits. He climbed higher, chasing the exhilaration of it, farther from his father's side with every passing minute. Daedalus called out, but the wind carried his warnings away. Higher and higher Icarus flew, until the sun's heat began to soften the wax at his shoulders. One by one the feathers loosened, then scattered. For a moment Icarus hung in the air with nothing holding him at all. Then he fell, plunging into the sea below, the water that now carries his name, the Icarian Sea. Daedalus circled back, calling his son's name into the empty sky, finding only feathers floating on the waves, meaning and takeaway. Daedalus buried what he could recover of his son on a nearby island and flew on alone to Sicily, his invention now forever tied to loss rather than triumph. For thousands of years, this story has been told as a warning against hubris, the danger of flying too close to the sun. But it's just as much a story about the cost of ignoring hard-won wisdom and about a father's warning that came from love, not control. Icarus's mistake wasn't ambition itself. It was forgetting that the instructions given to him were the only thing standing between freedom and disaster. Next time, we'll tell the story of Orpheus, a musician whose song could move the dead, and the one thing his love couldn't save him from. Subscribe for more tales told in full.